welcome to the MEF Global Forum. We are here in Barcelona for MWC 2023. It's an exciting first day. I should say it's exciting as more people tell me that so much is happening. I got to jump from one session to another of the Global Forum, but as you can imagine in MWC, a lot of things are happening right now. Well, we did collect a few of the topics and a few of the people together for today. We seem to have a very big party coming up, and I can already see some pretty nice, attires in the room. Well done if you're dressing up for the event, and thanks. But there is one session we wanted to keep almost as a bit of a treat for, especially the original mobile ecosystem forum was a mobile entertainment forum, and here we're talking about content and advertising. The two come together, part of our working groups, and we're doing it in style as we do have Paolo, the CEO of Mondia. Welcome to you.
Thank you, Dario, for this nice introduction.
And you're not just talking about one nice topic, but you're giving a bit of a history. We're talking about gaming for everybody. Is that true?
Correct.
The mobile games that you might have all played around. And if you're at home, I don't know, you probably cannot raise your hands, but here, has anybody ever played a game? Okay, a bit late, but yeah, okay, I got it. So you've got a good audience. It's all yours. They know what they're talking about. Be careful. There might be experts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Dario. And as I said, I will stand up because I don't like sitting, especially while presenting. So Mondia, the Mondia Digital is the company that I lead, and what we do is exactly, as Dario said, we are experts in content delivery. So what we do, we power digital content services from A to Z. And Mondia is a company that has a long-lasting history. It's more than 15 years that we do that. One constant element throughout all this journey is gaming. Gaming is one of the most exciting and engaging content type that ever existed. And today, what I want to do is to bring you through a little journey, let's say, where we will talk about the evolution of the gaming industry from the very beginning till now, and we will try also to define what is coming next. Okay, so as you can see, the look and feel is kind of arcade, and we are starting from the very beginning. So actually, in the first picture, you see the Nematron. It's a machine that was presented in a fair in New York in 1940. And it allowed, basically, it simulates the game of Nim, a very old game. In the 6 months it was exposed, it was used for 50,000 times. And the machine won more than 90% of the games. So we can say it's the first case of let's say, not digital, mechanical gaming machine. Then we have the periscope that is still not digital, but is a nice evolution of the first one. And it allowed basically to simulate a submarine shooting boats, and I mean, very basic, but interesting as well. And then number 3, I think someone in this room probably played it, Space Invaders, using all the spare coins of the father and the mothers that was found in the pockets just to kill aliens. So this is the very beginning. Let's fast forward and see what is gaming today. So today we are talking about an industry that is moving something like $185 billion. The average gamer plays 12 hours a week, which is a huge amount of time, considering how much content we are bombarded with and how much time we usually dedicate to different content types. More than half of the gaming experience are starting from the mobile today. And it's interesting to see how the new generations are engaging basically only on mobile. So a huge evolution of this industry. Probably there's no other industry that had a similar trajectory so far. But it's not just this. I mean, today gaming is everywhere. I don't know if you have a chance to watch The Last of Us, the new HBO show. I mean, it's a Hollywood production where HBO put a lot of money. The cast is AAA Hollywood stars, and is completely based on a video game, right? Then you have very special public figures that are using their face in promoting and creating business in gaming, like Messi, who here is still a legend, I would say, that is putting the face on some skins for Call of Duty, or I don't know, David Guetta having a concert in Roblox. And my favorite is actually Ted Lasso, which is a TV show on Apple TV that moved into FIFA. Imagine how the cross industry is working nowadays. So, and this is just an introduction because, as I said at the beginning, gaming is the most exciting and engaging type of content that we can experience. So, when Dario proposed me to have this presentation, this speech, I thought, okay, how can I make it really engaging? How can I really give people the feeling of what gaming really is? And the answer is obvious, is playing, right? So what we're going to do now, we're going to play a little game together and have some prizes as well. So there are going to be 6 questions, and it's all about milestones that happen in the gaming industry. Whoever guesses will get a little envelope, and inside, of course, there are gaming vouchers, because that's what we are talking about, right? So let's start. First question, I have to say, is a bit tough. Let's see who knows it. What was the first home gaming console? Atari, Sega, anyone else? Commodore? Okay. Okay. I'm just repeating for the people from home because they don't hear probably the answers from the crowd. So we have one Atari, one Sega, one Commodore. So I will give the prize to the Atari one because it's the closest.
But
because it's the closest.
It shows the people here way too young. way too young.
So here is your envelope. But the right answer is another one. I have to read it, Magnavox Odyssey. Imagine, I didn't know that. So we are talking about 1973. Sorry, 1973. It's a console that sold about 300,000 units in the first 3 years. And then the company went bankrupt because of mismanagement, let's say. But it's the first gaming console that appeared into a home. So the Atari was the second one. That's why you won. And it was quite close, actually, the launch. But this was the beginning of an era, right? So in the 80s and in the 90s is when we saw the Commodores, the Sega, the Nintendo, all the 8-bits consoles that were introduced to the market. We saw a game like Super Mario, so a very iconic game in 1985 that is still huge in the industry. And in the early 90s, basically we moved from the 8-bits console to the 16-bits. So the Sega Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo, I think Atari has the Vortex or something like that. And then we enter into the 2000s where the PlayStation versus Xbox era began. So this dual links was the strongest, and basically only probably the Wii was able to take a little spot inside because it was the first console introducing the movement as a way to play. But definitely PlayStation and the Xbox are still today so important. And also there was the evolution due to the connectivity that was very much improved. And so gaming became an online thing, and you were starting to download games from a store, the PlayStation Store, for example, on your console directly. But actually, is another thing that is very interesting for us, which is the parallel introduction of the mobile. Because in the late 80s, let's say, beginning of the 90s, the first phone phones came to the picture, mobile phones. And if you look at the evolution, of course, the phones from very big became smaller, the screens from very small became bigger, the pixels were, and the resolution improved a lot. But we had to wait until 1997 to see the first game on a mobile phone. And of course, it was obvious that the match was so evident that it was a no turning back point, right? So, second question. Do you remember your first mobile game? So now we have a problem, Dario. There are so many right answers. So, who was the first? You're the organizer, so you're the referee. Okay. So, here we go. Second envelope. Congratulations. Fun fact.
I'm
Maybe
neutral.
maybe not everybody knows, but Snake was a multiplayer game. You could have invited your friend through an SMS, pair the device, the Nokia 6610, and play together. First case of multiplayer game, Snake. I didn't know, but that's true. And if you think about it, Snake is for sure the first one, but it opened the era of VAS. Value-added services starting right after. So, of course, the beginning was premium rate SMS services, then some ringback tones that are still a thing in some countries, wallpapers, and so on. Then J2ME, so Java games, came into the picture, and gaming started to become more, let's say, interesting for developers that were looking at mobiles. But the obvious big change in the industry was this, if this is working, is to create pathos, you know. Here it is. This man and the introduction of the iPhone changed it all. Because it's not just about the iPhone, it's of course about the App Store. And immediately from an industry where there were a few companies creating games, this was the introduction of a new ecosystem where thousands of companies were put in the position of creating games now. And fun fact, interesting fact actually, the ones who started at the very beginning of the industry were the ones that were having the first big success also in the new ecosystem. Take Rovio. Rovio, with of course Angry Birds, in 2012 they made like 200 million revenues in a year. But maybe you don't know that Angry Birds was game number, if I'm not mistaken, 54 of Rovio. So they started at the very beginning and they kept going until, let's say, the environment allowed them to create such a success. And this is very important, don't forget it, because later on we will see that we are in a similar moment of history. Next question. Which is the most installed game in iOS history? It's not Angry Birds. Spoiler alert. I need hands up. Okay, over there. Fruit Ninja. Sorry, which one? Heroes. Okay, Farm Heroes. Candy Crush. Okay. It's Candy Crush. Congratulations. Ah. Okay, come on, referee, help me here. So let's impose the rule of the raise a hand.
You all have a microphone. Get the microphone out. Hands ready on the red button. If you want to answer, go press the red button. And then I will be completely confused. Not knowing the answers, I have to admit. But I will have to guess.
50%.
Are we still 50%?
Yeah.
Yes, no, I'm neutral like math. 75 is okay.
So Candy Crush. Imagine Candy Crush last year had an average monthly active user base of 270 million people. After so many years, because it was launched in 2012. The peak was in 2015, where they had more than 320 million monthly active users. I mean, those numbers are just incredible. Still today is one of the top grossing games in the App Store. And without counting all the clones and the evolutions and the different flavors of the same game. King made a fortune out of it, it goes without saying. It got acquired by Blizzard for billions, and this is one of the most astonishing cases of success in the gaming industry. And then, of course, Google made the move. In 2012, the launch of Google Play, and this is where, in my opinion, gaming became, how can I say, democratized. Because every person with a smartphone in the hand can play mobile games. And the top most downloaded game in Google Play is actually a game that is very important for us at Mondia, because it's a game that we provide in all our gaming services, which is Subway Surfer. Subway Surfer was downloaded more than 1 billion times from Google Play. Incredible. So 2012 is when I would say casual gaming really was at its top, definitely, because, as I said, everyone was able to play a game. And this is when we saw that the gamer was not just a kid with a phone, was basically everyone. And nowadays it's still like that. I mean, I take my personal case. My mother, 77, she plays Sudoku on the mobile. My brother is 48 now. He plays an RPG game on the mobile. I skip myself. Let's go to my nephew, 12, Fortnite all day. My niece, 9, all day on Roblox. My daughter, 3 years old, she's playing games, kids game, educational games, I hope, on the mobile. So we are covering all generations. So gaming is very accessible to everyone nowadays. So what's the evolution now? Of course, if you move on with the time, basically, connectivity stronger and stronger, gaming being multi-device, so I can access the same game from my phone, from the console, from the laptop. And of course, gaming becomes a community-driven thing, right? So it goes without saying that now the next step is esports. Esports is an industry that is worth $1.38 billion in 2022. It's something that, again, is not just for a small niche of people. It's now interesting for everybody. Last year, there were more than 500 million viewers of live esport events. A lot of money have been paid to esports professional gamers. And just to give you a taste of it, let's move to the next question. So this is a special question because it's number related. So I will take the first 3 answers and the closest win. Okay? So in 2022, Dota 2, an online game, very famous online game, they organize about 120 tournaments throughout the year. The total prize pool was the biggest ever in esports history. How much was it?
$100 million. $100 million.
$100 million. 200 million. Wow.
Say 250.
250. You are very generous, guys. 33.
I was the closest.
You were the closest. Yeah.
You got I was the closest.
But I have to say that you already got one. So I'll take the next one, which was 200, you said, right? Here is your envelope. Come on, an applause for the lady. Here you go. Congratulations. But the interesting thing is, imagine, this is one game. We are talking about tournaments around one game. And we are talking about end user price. Okay? So what is the volume that was generated around these tournaments? I mean, is it at least 10 times this? And this is one game. So the potential is really incredible. Now, I'm trying to move fast, but let's now look into the future. What is the next big thing for gaming? I mean, it's an industry that is growing year on year, double digit. So what's the next driver that is granting this double digit growth? So in 2022, there was a very, very buzzy word around the digital industry. Let's see who guesses it. Metaverse. Well done. I'm sorry it was not one of the game questions, but it was too easy. So this is what we have in mind when we say metaverse, right? So we imagine this guy with the Oculus doing weird things in the house, maybe being scared because he sees a dinosaur next to him and out of a sudden he makes a move and he destroys the TV next to him. So goofy stuff, right? But this is not what metaverse is, actually. Metaverse is not VR. It's not only VR. Of course, the VR is the interesting thing because make us look at the future in a certain way. We think to the Spielberg movie, Ready Player One, and we think about that kind of scenario. But the metaverse is more than VR. It's augmented reality. Is something that you can access from device that you already have in your pocket, the phone, the laptop, the tablet. Is basically entering a virtual world with other people and being an avatar in that virtual world. And of course, gaming, again, is a no-brainer. I mean, the match is natural. Let me give you an example of it, which is Roblox. Roblox has more than 40 million active users daily. I mean, it's incredible. There are more than 40 million virtual worlds inside this platform, and it's growing every day. They have a developer community that counts 9.5 million developers. They're one of the biggest active community ever. But the stat that impressed me the most is the fact that 51% of Roblox users are younger than 13 years old. So those are the users of today, the consumers of tomorrow. Those are the guys we have to look at if you want to build the future of this industry. And I have another revenue-related question that, again, we will take three and let's see who gets closer. Can you guess the revenue generated by Roblox in 2022?
5 billion.
5 billion. 900 million?
This seems like a Google
10
search.
billion. 2.2 billion.
I was the closest.
Yeah, but you won already one, man. You are too prepared. So, congratulations. Thank you. It was 1.9 in 2021 and went now to 2.2 billion. A company that was founded in 2006 in San Mateo and went through an IPO already. It's a rocket launched to the space, basically. And then we have Fortnite, another very nice example, 400 million registered users. It's incredible the success that it has. Important to underline that the majority of the users are between 18 and 24 in this case. So if you put together Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, and you really understand the habits of those users on those platforms, you're basically predicting what is going to come next. Because those are the users of today that will be the highest spenders of tomorrow. I mean, they are already spending today, but of course it's going to grow. And those are the guys, in my opinion, that we have to think about. We said at the beginning that VR is not the thing today, but even like that, of course, the popularity of devices like the Oculus or the Pico or similar is not yet as big as we imagined. the technology is still not as good as we thought, but don't get fooled by what happened to Meta, that poured in billions and then slowed down a bit. Because for a Meta that is slowing down, there's a lot of other companies and governments that are putting a lot of money in. South Korea, UAE, I live in Dubai. I saw the plans of the UAE government towards metaverse. They are pouring in an amount of money that is insane. So there's a big future in front of it. Just that it's not for tomorrow, it's probably the day after tomorrow, but it's coming. So as a whole, this industry, the, let's say, metaverse in the broader, let's say, definition of metaverse, today already count on 400 million active users per month and is moving almost $40 billion. And this brings me to the last question. Can you guess the estimated worth of the games market in 2030? Again, 3 answers. Let's see who gets closer. 20 billion. Sorry? 1 trillion. Last one? 100 billion. So we have 100, 20, and trillion. Okay. 500 billion. So, yeah, it's you.
Luigi.
Congrats.
For someone who has the name of a Nintendo character, that's not bad.
That's a sign. That's definitely a sign. So, let me conclude this presentation. You know, if I have to summarize what I wanted to transmit to you guys today is that this gaming industry is evolving at the speed of light. Today, the consumer are evolving. The content is evolving. We are the industry makers that have to keep the balance among those three. And if we are not able to do that, guys, well, then it's game over. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. Very interesting, very interactive, as we have seen it, as we wouldn't expect anything else from Mondia Digital. But a couple of questions. We are almost running out of time, but it's at the end of the session, so I think we'll be okay. There is something else following up with Ross, but I think we can allow. I'll let the public go first, but I have one for you as well. Nick, you have a question? Use a mic so we can hear from home as well. And I have to. This is my professional position, but I have to.
It's maybe more of a comment than a question, and just to get your thoughts on it. So on the metaverse, I think feels to me like the big challenge is infrastructure, so low latency and high capacity, and it's such a huge investment to get that, throughout the developed market, much less the the developing markets. Do you feel like government's going to have to play a role in that to get the infrastructure to the point where we need it for the metaverse?
It's a very good point. And I think here is important to underline the key position of telecom operators in this part of the equation, right? If I think at the 4G, when we introduced the 4G, the use case was clear. Everybody wanted to implement video streaming. So it was let's say that the investment was clear for what it was. Then it's debatable if the operator took the biggest advantage of it or the OTT did, but the use case was there for the consumers. I think that this could be exactly the use case that we were looking for 5G, and still operators were struggling to find, because 5G can help a lot on this, in the latency, in the speed, in everything. Definitely is one of the reasons why today it didn't take off yet as much as it should. But if we are able to move the needle on 5G side, I think that this could be the game changer.
Almost it's similar. I wasn't asking about myself for metaverse, but you end up touching on a similar topic. We have historically the telecommunication industry was around the 1 trillion mark, let's say. But we look at some of those numbers, 180 billion to 100 billion. Mobile gaming is a real big thing, very big. Yet, mobile operators are generally not active, or at least not active as they used to be when we were talking about the J2 and so on. Is it going to change? What should be changed? And I'm talking about direct carrier billing, but also actively monetizing some of the activities.
Look, I believe one thing, Dario. Any company that is aiming to provide a digital service to consumers, so a direct-to-consumer digital service, has one KPI that has to be the most important, which is engagement, because we are all fighting for the same users, right? So in the moment that user is dedicating more time to you than to somebody else, you're winning. Revenues will come automatically. Now, gaming can help exactly in this direction. What operators cannot do is to treat gaming as a generic content. We are going into the direction of customization of the content, and gaming has to be customized because the offer is so wide, so big, that you need to define which buyer persona you want to address. And who, if not the operator that have all the data that they have about consumers, about their habits, about the device that they are using, can address exactly this point. But it's a shift in the mindset that telcos have to do. Honestly, not just for gaming, in general for any content-based service, but gaming especially because it has the potential.
And it is also true, and I think Ross will eventually mention some of that we have seen some big shift in the advertising market. Now operators in Europe are actively going back to something that they've been playing before. Now they're providing the identifier for some of those. So who knows, gains in that as well as a CX experience as well. Well, thank you. I know that we started a bit late, so we're starting now. We're finishing on 5 minutes late as well. Thanks to you. Thanks for overplaying. Thanks for overplaying. And Ross is going to hold to the ship for the next event. Thank you.
Thank you.